Hi, I'm Mr. Wilson. Welcome to this short video looking at the Year 8 art rotation for this year. This year, students are looking at still life through a pop art lens. At the beginning of each week, students will review and analyze the work of a single artist who has looked at still life throughout history. So we start off with 17th century artists such as Harman Steenwick and move all the way through to contemporary artists such as Portia Munson. And of course, along the way, we touch upon pop artists such as Roy Lichtenstein, Patrick Caulfield, or Andy Warhol. During the project, we'll also take time to analyze a single piece of art in depth. By doing this, we help students understand that there is more to art than their initial impression. We understand the different formal elements that make up a piece of artwork, and we start to think about why it is that artists and designers use the particular visual language that they do. This is really important for any student who wants to go on to do a creative studies GCSE so that they understand some of the academic rigors involved in such a subject, but it also helps them in their day-to-day life in helping be able to pull apart and understand some of the common images that they might come across in their day-to-day life, such as advertising, comics, or artwork that they might see independently outside of the school environment. In terms of skills, we start the project by doing some sketching, some observational drawing from life. We review some good advice for drawing and observation. Again, that key word observation, being able to really look at something and see it for what it is and try and represent it instead of drawing the idealized version or the simplified version that they might already have in their heads. Some examples of that work are here. These have been taken from one of the digital sketchbooks that we produce for one of our earlier rotations when students were still in the building. And we can see that these drawings have been done from objects directly in front of the student, not from photographs. The next skill and knowledge organizer that we review is understanding what makes still life and how to represent color accurately. So we can see on this slide, again, some examples of students' work where we've looked at how to lay down both color and tone, how light or dark an area is in an image by developing those observational skills. These images have come from photographs. Students have then taken those photographs and used their own understanding to define which areas are going to be the darkest areas and which areas are going to be highlights or lighter areas of the image. We then go on to do a little bit of work looking at color theory, and we introduce the idea of complementary colors. Complementary colors are colors that are opposite one another on the color wheel and produce a vibrant effect when placed opposite one another. A great example is red and green for Christmas decorations. With that knowledge of color, they then go on to look at how they can respond to a pop artist using complementary colors to create a design. These designs are made by drawing out two different logos or packaging designs and then recombining them in a way that leaves them with blocks of intense color, which they then take on to doing some additional work over the top of. So these are extension tasks where students have responded to the work of Roy Lichtenstein and Andy Warhol in the same piece. From there, we move on to the last and most possibly important section, where we understand something to do with printmaking. We look at key vocabulary to do with printmaking and some important printmaking methods. Now, of course, if students are working at home, they won't have access to all of the printmaking tools that we have at the Academy. So we've had to be a little bit creative about how we approach this part of the subject. In an Academy setting, students will produce work that looks like this using specialist plastic printing plates, what are they? Polystyrene printing plates, and a range of other tools to be able to create layered designs. Of course, this isn't possible at home, and we'll have a look at the way we've approached that situation later on in the presentation. Every Year 8 student will have been sent a rotation book, a booklet for their creative studies rotation if they're in the art department or if they're doing textiles or photography. Their booklet will look something like this in the front cover. And here are some of the key pages that students will definitely need to access. Of course, we've got our art, craft and design history page that we looked at early on in today's video. And then we've got some pages to do with sketching, Sketching from direct observation is something that students can happily do at home. And we've also got some work to do with color pencil work. Now, not every family is going to have color pencils at home, but I think it's really, really important that students understand that color pencils can be used to really accurately represent tone and color in an image, even if they may not be considered the most highbrow of art equipment. Another highlight is designing our print. So in this iteration of the project, rather than designing their prints from logo designs, we've encouraged students to do some imaginative work. I think that being able to take some time to be imaginative and create your own packaging design in a period when there's not much space for imagination is super important. And so that's what we're encouraging our students to do. From there, they'll develop their prints. And I know that not everybody's going to have traditional printmaking materials at home. So as a department, we've done a bit of experimentation and figured out a solution to that problem. The solution is, of course, instant coffee. So students are encouraged to use card, pencils, paper, and scissors to develop their own printmaking pieces and use instant coffee to print them. All of this may seem like a lot of bother. It might seem really difficult to get your child to engage in artwork when the core subjects must be so important and everybody feels that students are missing out on time doing these core subjects. But I will just say this about art. Taking time to be imaginative, to reflect on the world around you, and to look at the media and look at images in the media and packaging and day-to-day objects with a fresh pair of eyes is incredibly good for students' well-being and their mental health. Taking a bit of a break from doing lots and lots of written work or lots and lots of maths, English, history, science, and do something creative and visual, something hands-on, is incredibly important for students' mental health. And I personally love seeing some of the outcomes that your children produce and share with me via email. And I know that the praise and feedback that they get makes an enormous impact on their day. It's always nice to get a smile. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'm sorry it's a bit bumbly, but hopefully it covers everything that you need to know. And please don't hesitate to email your child's art teacher if you have any questions at all. Thanks again. Bye.